Next on our agenda is the Fireside Chat, where we delve into high relevant topic, the future of women in manufacturing. I'd now like to invite all the panelists on stage, beginning with Mr. Rajneesh Damani, Director Operations, Bridgestone, India. Can we clap and welcome him? We'd also like to welcome Satyendra Tiwari, Director Manufacturing, Case New Holland, Construction Equipment India Private Limited. We'd also like to welcome Aditi Sharma, Independent Consultant, ex-Vedanta, to please join us on stage. To moderate the amazing session, we'd like to welcome Mr. Ashok Muthuswamy, Vice President, BE Sustainability and TQM.
It's one of the most important sessions with having more and more, how we can increase the women participation in manufacturing. And with us, we have some very amazing panelists, co-panelists. So I am also very happy to have Aditi here, who can also represent women. And of course, all of us do represent women. So with that, we will also keep this pretty short. And we will ask just few very interesting questions, and I will let the panelists provide answers. So, but before I start asking the question, just to give the gravity of the situation, see, like a recent McKinsey report mentioned that we are losing $1 trillion, close to $1 trillion, $800 billion, because women in India are not participating in the workforce. So already there is close to $1 trillion which is gone. I mean, that's on the financial aspect, not necessarily the social aspect. And share of women in senior and management position is also pretty low, around only 14%. And women-led businesses or CEOs, they are less than 8%. So that being said, women also spend 2.5 hours more per day than men on unpaid care that they give to the family. So all these are, pretty serious aspects. Half of the population is not treated as well as they should be. But that being said, situation is not fully doom and gloom. In this all itself, we have some excellent women. Aditi is here. Then earlier, we also had folks like Kavita, Mohini, Suman, and of course, one and only Sujata. I don't know where Sujata is, the amazing job that she did. So, and also we all know about the Chandrayaan and, all the women engineers and scientists who put the vehicle to the moon. Only thing is we need to have see more such examples, and some positive development is recently a bill has been passed in the parliament for women reservation, and also Prime Minister Modi in his recent remark at G20 mentioned that global development is not possible without women participation. So having set the context, let me ask Aditi the first question. Aditi, you are a senior leader, you have been around in Cummins, Vedanta, and now you are your own consultant. So please tell me, what are the typical or the biggest challenges that women face in manufacturing industry today, and how can they overcome that?
So good evening, everyone. I know you all are busy drinking tea and coffee right now. The question is, actually, I don't know if we really want to know what challenges women face, or we are talking about what is the challenge industry faces when they want to get women on board. These are two very, very intertwined questions. Most of the industry, and I'm talking from my 29 years of experience, when I used to visit my supplier base, from a very small thing like having a washroom in their premises, to having the policies to understand that women at certain part in time in their life will need certain kind of breaks, or we need to identify the kind of working environment, even the mechanical handling of certain equipments, whether they can be done by women or not done, are a lot of things which we have to think as industry. Now we are moving in the industry 4.0 and industry 5.0 and so much of digitization, artificial intelligence. I think every job is becoming easy for women. But who is working on changing the mindset of the entire population in India, that mechanical engineering or going into anything to do with production lines is also a career option. So, what women face in the workforce is Definitely a constant stigma that whether women can do it or cannot do it. There's still a lot of resistance to give certain kind of jobs to women without asking them whether they can do it or not. We have already identified and tagged it saying this cannot be done by women. And the third and most important thing is we have no exposure for women, 50% population of India, to say what is it to work in an industry. There's a fear, there's a kind of, yeah, fear is the right word. In the absence of word, I will say there's a unknown fear that people have that going to shop floor is only for men. So I think a lot of work we have to do in terms of bringing more and more students into our factories and show them that how easy, how comfortable, and how satisfying it can be to be in the shop floor. So I think that's where I'll leave it for everybody to think. It is not for the existing women we need to go and cannibalize. There are like 10% women in the overall manufacturing, and I go to Bajaj and take from there, and Bajaj goes to Mahindra and takes from there, Mahindra goes to Tata and takes from there, Tata comes to me and takes from there. We are cannibalizing the market. We are not creating more and more jobs and more women to come and work for us. So I think these are the two things I will leave. One is how can we make it more visible for people that it is easy to work? And how can we look at us and say, is it really easy to work?
Thank you. Wonderful, Aditi. The point you mentioned is mindset. You know, one oft-repeated example was Sudha Murthy, how she wrote to Ratan Tata for a job with Telco. Tata Motors used to be called as Telco. And she was not selected because the managers told that there is no washroom, and Mr. Tata asked how much time it will take you to build a washroom, right? That is right? It's absolutely mindset, right? I mean, that is one thing. And the other point also which you touched upon brilliantly is manufacturing is not what it used to be even in Sudha Murthy's days. Now it's with all these 3D printing, robotics, and all these other automations. It's a different world out there which will be more conducive for anyone, right? So with that, thanks Aditi. Now let me move on to the next question. Over to you, Rajneesh. So Rajneesh, how do you think we can support the professional development of women?
So, thank you. And I will actually start from where Aditi left and weave in a bit of what she said is before we even talk about developing women, we need to make sure that the environment that we provide is conducive enough to attract women, right, to the manufacturing industry. So, so there are a lot of things that we try to do in terms of that is when you are getting fresh talent, because everybody builds talent pipeline, right? When you're getting in fresh talent, we mandate 50% gender diversity in Bridgestone, right? Anytime we post a role and offer a role, we position it such way that it's gender neutral, right? Third, we also try to explain the organizational structure and make it conducive that a women can rise up or take any of the roles in the organization without any apprehensions, right? So these are things we do. Certain areas that we really look at from a development perspective, one is hire new talent, fresh talent. Second, early identification of women talent who have the potential and you see the potential to grow. You need not be 100% confident, but even if you have a 50% assurance, how can you hone the skills, giving them mentorship well ahead in their careers so that you can grow them to bigger roles? That's one. Second, we need to make sure that our policies, company policies, specifically HR policies around this are very well displayed and very clearly articulate, right? That from a company perspective, management perspective, leadership perspective, we are focused and we do want women to be a part of our leadership roles. So it's basically walk the talk, demonstrate it from top. That's how you can make sure that happens. The other thing which we try and do is, you all talk about retainership, we talk about returnship. right? Women, we know, do take breaks in their careers due to maternity, but how do you ensure the returnship is even more fruitful, welcoming, and they can be assured that even after taking a medium or a long break, they can come back and join back careers at a stage where they left. Often we tend to say that, you have a 5-year break, so you start afresh. I think that mindset needs to change. So I think these are certain things that I would look for in terms of really making progress in developing women talent.
Excellent. Thank you. So some of the points that you mentioned is, obviously how you can identify women leaders upfront and how you can groom them. Maybe I would also like to add the word positive discrimination, figure out, what I think we have to discriminate and let it be positive this time. And policy of inclusivity.
Gender neutral jobs, right?
Gender neutral jobs, and also maybe have a slight bias for women so that until they reach the 50% wouldn't hurt. And other point also very intriguing is returnship, and a lot of companies have actually benefited a lot from this returnship program. The women who are after taking a break of 5 year or 10 year, once they come back, the results are extremely encouraging. So that's also very profitable aspect for business in addition to fulfilling the social obligation. Yeah. Thank you, Rajanish. So Satyendra, over to you. Maybe on these same lines, how can we mentor and create next generation of women leaders?
In fact, we had been talking about the cultural shift, the mindset, changing the mindset. I think I graduated 30 years back. I have only two girls who are studying with us in mechanical engineering department. Frequently, I am going to IIT Indore. I am finding by guideline, they are putting at least 20-30% should be diversity, gender diversity should be there. And there is a social stigma, if there is a female employee, she said she should be nurse, she should be clerk, she should be working in bank, maybe a teacher, not someone who can work as a blue collar, as a soft floor leader, a supervisor on the soft floor. I think more we talk about it, this is the way we develop leadership. I think like I have idea of creating the full line with the gender diversity. So in one of my line, we have authorized only female candidate to participate, starting with line setting to final testing and assembly of the machine. I have taken almost 2-3 months just to convince that it is possible in heavy engineering business. They don't have a strength, they cannot apply a lot of torque. And I think I have made it possible because there was a lot of resistance whether it's a good idea to implement. And I have realized in repetitive manufacturing, if you look at quality set, the mindset which is coming from social beliefs, they are very friendly. If I look at the learning coming from society, I think that's where we need to really respect diversity, that they are coming with a different set. Like the most of the supervisors in the factory, they complain about, they talk more about what is being today on the lunch, not what are the quality problem we have. But if we don't have respect for these kind of diversity, we will lose creativity on the soft floor. And I have believed that if you want to have a culture of creativity, continuous learning and growth, you have to have a gender diversity there. And in fact, I was running a program in my company. I have seen 10% of the female employee engaged by us, they are giving the best of the Kaizen. They are coming with a problem because generally problem in our social life is, it's possible that man sees a problem, he notices and he complains about it. There is a likelihood if woman is seeing a problem, she will not only complain, she have intention to really work upon it. And that's why best of the Kaizen is coming from female employees. So I think if you want to develop them, we have to talk more about it, the need of diversity, and allow them to speak about what they are doing, how they are feeling, what kind of projects they are doing, what they feel about, working in manufacturing, sometimes they are shy, not talking about it. They are just coming and doing their job. So if we want to promote leadership, maybe we need to give a chance. Can we ask them how they feel? Can we ask them if they take pride what they are doing? I think this is the best way to develop leadership on the soft floor. And I'm very confident future generation of soft floor leaders will be driven by female employees. Thank you.
I just wanted to add few things here. You know, we always talk about the difficulty women have to come and work in the shop floor. The entire healthcare industry, if you see, women work 3 shifts as nurses, doctors. It has never come back saying that there is women, being a gender is a problem. Hospitality industry, hotels, women work 3 shifts. All level women work 3 shifts. Aviation industry. Even today, if you see, NDA has become viable for women. So even the army, which is the most difficult space to work in, that is where even the moment government opened it that women can go, you can see the number of applications coming. Which means when we talk about it, when we make it viable, when we make it lucrative, women are willing to come there. So it poses a question on us as an industry. Are we talking too negative about ourselves, saying it is difficult for women to work in shop floors? It is difficult to work for. No, women don't take this. No, women should not take mechanical engineering. No, it is a men's world. And how many more years we are going to do this? I have graduated in 1995. The same thing has been told to me that women don't go to mechanical engineering. 30 years later also I hear the same thing. That when it comes to engineering, not mechanical. Rest of the places, women will go and take a job which is 24/7, outside the country. They have to live in residencies. Medical profession is the worst when it comes to the time and the kind of commitment. So somewhere this industry has been doing negative marketing about themselves, saying that this is not the industry for women. How do we change is for all of us to stand up, go to academia. Now the new education policy which is coming, does it even have a subject which takes people to be interested in automobile or mechanical or electrical or anything to do with engineering other than computers? So even with this new NEP, we do not have us anywhere in the talk. We continue to be an industry which stands up and says, we are welcome, we are willing to welcome women to come, but we are a men's industry. And I'm not saying that any one of you are doing it. I think it is in our head, it is in our DNA that we think that manufacturing industry is a difficult place for women to be. And if we have to change that, we have to start changing it from our education system. And I think as industry, we need to stand up and have more and more internship programs in school, more and more work which promotes people coming in and seeing why is it easy for women to come and work here. Even today, engineering is a very viable option for women, but they take computer engineering and electronics engineering. So I think somewhere we have a lot of work to do to say how we can bring more women here. Talking about all not having toilets, not having, can women do all the work? If you go to construction site, women do all the work, right?
Sure.
Most of the time, the most physical labor you will see women doing. Whole day they keep things in their head and they take it up and down, which means physically they are fit. They run the house, you go to agriculture, you go to fields, women are doing the most physical work. So why is it that with machines we don't trust our women? And that's the question I'll leave for everyone to think here. Is it truly difficult to work in automobile, or we are not doing something to attract people to our premises? Because there are educated women, the women who want to go out of the way, and every woman, including me, I wanted to do something which no woman has done before. That's how I took mechanical. People used to think I'm mad. Today I think I was mad. I should not have done it because no women did it. I should have done it because I wanted to do it. But even today I see that women want to do something which no other woman has done. Still we don't come in their list. So there's something which we have to do differently as an industry to attract more women into manufacturing per se.
Excellent. So, brilliant. Let's give a big round of applause for Aditi. So, some of the points which really resonated is one is you mentioned about certain industry like medical, aviation, and hospitality, which is very, very unforgiving in terms of physicality of the job, in terms of hours, right? I mean, IT industry, all 24/7 industry, right? I mean, if we can do it in those industries and be very successful, why not at manufacturing? Rajneesh, anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, I think, Aditi made some very important points. And I would like to substantiate what Aditi said with some results that we've seen, right? Um, I have seen women doing the best quality welding, some of the best welding quality without any defect. We recently in Bridgestone in Pune, we hired our first batch of apprentice of 100 women. 100% women. 100 women, we put them, they got trained to build tires, right? And it's not easy, they would say, but you see, they got trained to build tires in a time span lesser than what the average men take. The output of the tires that come out of building in terms of quality, consistency is much higher. So this is actually, I just wanted to substantiate what she said in terms of real outcomes that we have seen in the hardcore manufacturing industry. So definitely, somebody said it in the morning, I think someone said, women can do it all, and I agree to that.
Excellent. Thank you. So,
There was a point, and Aditi just reminded me. In one of my companies that I worked, I had 3 managers, dotted, solid, functional. All 3 were women. But it is amazing to work with them. So you can actually see, they're going high places and really being very capable.
yeah, that will happen sooner than later. So, let me ask one question to Satyendra. See, both Aditi and Rajneesh touched a little bit about work-life balance, but can you elaborate on that? How we can ensure a proper work-life balance for women in particular, maybe generally for the workforce in general?
Workforce in general, I think when it comes to women, it's very difficult to really talk about work-life balance. In India, our social structure is so organized that after coming home, you also expect she needs to behave like a good mother, taking care of in-laws and many other stuff. So, and that leads to take them extraordinary leave, sometime to bring something like the kind of obligations she has for the family. If we are not sensitive about it, and one way is to find out which, and if we look at why women is not at work, because she is doing some work at home, she cannot defer. As a company, can we provide certain level of facilitation in order to ensure if she needs to go to hospital to take care of something which she cannot defer, or she needs to go to a parent-teacher meeting, why all the time her, why not him? And can we support these kind of requests? As a company, we have now new legislation which has come up, especially for the construction female employee, where you need to have children also allowed to be there around, so that any woman working feels safe, working in the perimeters you would like to operate. So I think one other area is flexibility of working. We can provide certain level of flexibility, like as Aditi said, female are working in A shift, B shift, in hospitality and other sectors. Why she cannot come and she has a job in A shift, she can work in B shift. Like as an initiative, we are doing a lot of testing in B shift. Earlier we are thinking having a female employee in B shift will bring a lot of responsibility on the company, to make them drop. So we have started this. We are training a lot of female employees and they can come in B shift, and I think they are happily doing it. So if you want to really motivate female employee to come around, take a job in manufacturing, This flexibility will really bring a lot of benefit to the company. If you have a motivated female employee around, it will always thrive creativity, it will always thrive for quality, and it will create a ecosystem around where everybody is feeling really very happy about working in B shift. Because in manufacturing setup, normally B shift, end of shift, nobody like to work. I was in Europe recently in one of my company. I have seen the last person, she was a team leader. I was in Sampirana, one of our company, far away from the city. The last employee, she was a team leader, to leave the factory was that team leader. And she was a female, very young. And I was just thinking, if we ask it to happen in India, in fact, the first mindset is, should we do it at first place? But female, like, the way she takes care of the home, it's like she's taking care of the stuff, closing all the diaries, closing all the material issuance, and then she is going home. Maybe this requires a level of facilitation, really to guarantee that women are really feeling proud what they are doing, they love what they are doing, or they do what they love. This is the association very close to manufacturing domain, predominantly dominated by males so far. This is the way where if we allow them to have this level of flexibility, maybe they will start loving the work, they can take pride. And they can be the brand ambassador, taking care of quality, productivity, and entire cultural alignment we can speak about. Thank you.
There was, I just want to mention one of the suppliers. So when I was working with Cummins, I was driving this supplier. At the supplier end also, we wanted 30% minimum gender diversity. So there's one of the supplier in a very small place called Ichalkaranji near Kolhapur. Their name is GMT Tools. And they came up with such a unique proposition saying that we understood that women have all the early morning chores and send their kids, and they get free by 10 o'clock. And they have to go back at 4 o'clock to their home. So they came up with this 6-hour shift, special shift for women to come and work. All these women, they had an offline operation where, they did not really need women to work in the online. They created an entire offline work for women who used to come at 10 o'clock and go back home at 4 o'clock. So they could take care of their home. They got to work so that they could get extra income. And then they went back and took care of home. So, there are many innovative ways that if you have in your head that you want to drive it, one of my managing directors, one of my companies, and I won't mind using the name, Cummins, they said, okay, I am shameless about it. I want 70% new hires to be women. And everybody in senior leadership has to be hired is a woman. Today, they sit at, 60, 70% at the highest, senior most level in leadership. It took them 10 years to be there. But they could do it because they, top to bottom, decided, we are going to be shameless about it. We are going to only hire women and then ensure that every policy which we make for them, while we hire them because of their gender, but once they are in our premises, we are not going to differentiate them by gender. So if they came up with part-time work policy, it was for men, women, both. If it was hybrid policy, it was for men, women, both. If it was paternity or maternity policy, adoption policy, every policy, the moment you step in, it was for equality. So when we talk about equality, we need to understand that men and women are different. They're not equal. They're not clones of each other. How we embrace that, there is always going to be certain advantage and disadvantage of being a man and of a woman. How we bring them together and make them work in our premises by not constantly comparing our Rajneesh and Aditi, saying that what he can do, you cannot do. But complimenting, saying that, this is what you are good at and this is what you are good at, and hence, as a team, you both can produce wonders. Till the day we start doing that, we will constantly keep doing this debate that what women can do, what women cannot do. So I think it is, maybe I just request the industry to say, just take a chance. start taking more women in your premises and learn what we can do to have more viable, more beautiful, more homogeneous workplace for both the genders to come together. Because if you're not doing that, you're losing out on 50% of the talent which is available, and you're only trying to grab from the remaining 50%, which is men.
Right. So just I would like to echo on this point. When you said we are losing 50%, in fact, one of the main reasons why the US has a very huge workforce, as some of you may know, is during the World War time, all the men went to fight the wars and women went to make the airplanes, make automobiles and all that stuff. And they did an amazing job, and then the US became, a lot more women in the workforce. So one is it's a social obligation that we have, but what based on what I'm also hearing, it's also a very profitable one to fulfill because women bring a lot of diversity, the huge talent pool. If somebody is not tapping into that huge bottomless pool of resource, that person is a loser, right? So thank you very much. And I would also like to thank manufacturing today for this great opportunity.